Okay. Today's topic is actually very timely in the sense that I think living in a challenging time, okay, especially nowadays, what we are seeing and all that. Okay. So as you all know, when we are actually experiencing this kind of big challenge and all that, we always like to think also further away and see how, especially to learn from the nature. Okay, as you can see, the universe is huge. The universe is huge, and recently there was actually about news about that. The scientists has actually developed the highest resolution so far in terms of 3D map of the stars in our own galaxies and all that. So there's a lot of stars and galaxies in the universe. It's huge and all that. But sometimes we also may think that it is far away from us. Okay, it is very far away from us. In fact, it is not that far away. Okay, for example, our sun. Okay, now if now actually you can see outside your window, you can see sunlight coming in and all that. Just imagine you can actually use your hand to actually receive this sunlight. I mean, and all that. Just and start thinking that in fact the photon that has actually reached and then your hand, okay, 8 minutes ago it was actually from the sun. 8 minutes ago it was from the sun. So we are not actually that far from the sun in that sense. Okay. So whatever happens to the sun, okay, 8 minutes ago you come to us and all that. Okay. So by learning this one, in fact, we are interconnected. We are interconnected with the whole universe. Okay. As last time I think I came to give a talk as well, and at the time I was showing you all that in fact the sun together the solar system is rotating around the center of the galaxy uh, every 20 million years. Uh, Sorry, every yeah, okay, every 200 million years, we will actually circle the sun once. Okay, so we are now in the number 20 galaxy year in that sense. Okay, but who knows, something might happen, and then next time when we pass through that region, there will be a lot of asteroids or whatever that may hit us again. So we never know about this one. So in fact, the universe and us is actually very much interconnected. Okay, and then the other thing is actually, if you look at the scientists now always say about this Big Bang, which has happened about 13.7 billion years ago. Okay, and then the age of Milky Way is about 13.2 billion years, and our solar system is about 4.6 billion years. Uh, Billion years. Okay, Earth was actually formed about the same time, and the first cell on Earth is believed to actually exist about 3.5 to 3.8 billion years ago. Okay, so you can see that from the Earth has actually gone through various kind of status, including icy Earth status, meaning that the whole Earth was covered by a thick layer of ice and all that until the volcanic and also the heat from the inner actually melt it, and then we have back we escape from this icy age and all that, the whole earth and all that. Okay, so just imagine that since 3.5 to 3.8 billion years ago, for this single cell and all that, and slowly life evolved, and then now we have the earth. In fact, when in fact, when we actually look at these molecular machines in our actually own body, now number of air molecules in one breath, you can see it is huge. It is huge. Every breath of us actually, you can see there's a lot of molecules inside in and inside out. Okay. So I think knowing this one, I think that's why it's very important for us to wear a mask during this time. Just imagine how much of the molecules that we are actually taking in. Okay. And number of cells in human body is 37.2 trillion. Okay, and equally big is actually number of bacterial cells in human body. Okay, so we have to live together with this the bacteria. In fact, for a healthy body, the important thing is actually must have balance between our body and all those good bacteria inside there, including those bacteria in our gut and all that. So we know that the health in the gut if by eating more plant-based diet and all that will help to actually grow a healthy gut bacteria community. And this community, from some of the latest research, the bacteria there will also actually produce dopamine and serotonin. Okay, that can be absorbed and then supplied to our brain. That will actually help us to have a better mood and also against the depressions and all that. Okay, so sometimes the health of our gut actually also determine how we have in our mind. Okay, so eating healthy food with a lot of plant-based diet is important. It's important. So make sure that during this time we also to take a lot of fiber foods as well. You can also go to YouTube. You can find many reports from the scientists about this. Okay. Now, so knowing all this one, you can see that we are actually interconnected either through the vast universe or through the small little microorganisms in our body. We are all interconnected and actually affecting each others as well, affecting each other. That's why if you look at evolution on Earth, okay, we are so lucky that the Earth has evolved over this time, and the structure, the geological changes and all that has made it actually the Earth is suitable for living cells and also living organisms and all that to thrive on Earth and all that. But the moment the conditions is no longer there, then it may actually give us more problems. So while today this year we may be facing COVID-19 challenges and all that, but in years to come, global warming global warming continues to be an issue. Okay, and then the use and all those plastic and microplastic particles is also getting more and more actually serious. Okay, and you can see that I think this year they also say that some parts of the earth the world and all that are having actually warmer winter as well. Okay, so and this year we have also in terms of the activities of cyclone and typhoon is among the heaviest in terms of the frequency of that one on earth. So that actually signifies a change in uh, the, the climate of the earth. So if this is not preserved and all that, who knows in future the earth may longer be suitable for us to live. So from here again it comes back to us lah. What we do actually will also affect the environment. Okay. And that's why I think throughout these years of evolutions and all that, you can see life have evolved, and then we have all kinds of these animals and living creatures and all that, and living organisms, the living cells and all that. Okay, so all these actually are interdependent. All these are interdependent. Just like I mentioned, inside our body, all the bacterial cells. Okay, that actually help to maintain also the overall health of our body. The same thing is actually as you look at this our human being and all that with the Homo sapien. Okay, Homo sapien. Maybe you have read the book on Homo sapien and then Homo Deus by the Professor Harari. So in fact, if you look at the difference in terms of gene, the percentage may not be high. Okay, but through evolutions and all that, I think Homo sapiens is now actually dominating species on Earth, okay, which is our human being lah. All of us are Homo sapien. Okay, so if you look at this one, basically, from the universe, the Earth, the human society, and even ourselves, from young until we are actually aging and all that, it's actually this natural cause, law of cause, effects, and conditions. Okay, so the moment when we actually experience something, A lot of time we like to think that this is just effects and all that. Okay, and we may try to trace the cause, but in fact, the conditions are also very important. Okay, and every day we are actually making all kinds of choices, all kinds of acts that may affect each other interdependently. Okay, so if you look at this one, then I would like to share with you about this light again. Okay, now sometimes during the COVID or any challenging time and all that, we always say that we hope that everything to be back to normal soonness. Okay, or we hope that, or even in our daily life, we hope that every day we have all the best choices. Every day will be smooth and all that. But in terms of the study of probability and all that, I think if you, as you in statistics, you know, and you have make enough number of choices or any kind of reactions and all that, that tends to have this Gaussian or bell-shaped distribution. Okay, so in this case, in terms of all the choices we make every day, some may be good, some may not be a good choice. Okay, and maybe majority are still the neutral one and all that. So if we keep on actually attaching ourselves to all the good choices and so happy with all that one, or feeling sad about all the bad choices and keep that in mind all the time, our emotion definitely will fluctuate. Because from the point of statistics and all that, it's really challenging to have all the whole world actually working in our favor. Okay, it is interdependent and all that. Okay, so in this case, in fact, it is even better or more efficient, okay, if we can actually calm our mind internally. Okay, it is much more easier than calm the outside world. Okay, so how to actually learn about this natural law, about Dharma, and how we can actually learn about the nature and let us actually face the challenges with actually a much better calm and calmful mind as well. Okay, so I would believe that living in the challenging time like this one, in fact, it is more even important for us to see how, through all kinds of practices, such as mindfulness practices, or even meditation, or even being focused on whatever we are doing, can help us improve our mind status. Okay. Now, I suppose we all know that what happens to COVID to us with the COVID and all that and other things in life. Sometimes it's called what we call the black swan effect. This refers to incidents that are unlikely to happen, but it happen will bring great impact. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that these are something that are ongoing and is actually preparing in the background. Once the condition is there and it come out and we start with experiencing. Okay, so the moment it comes and all that, okay, it's already there. Okay, so the best way for us to deal with is to face it, accept it, and then handle it, and then later maybe let it go. Okay, this is very important because it is unpredictable. Okay, and it is unprepared in the sense that because black swan effect, the definition is like that one. Okay, so if that's the case, the best way is actually how we can actually live at present and then face the situation now and overcome it one by one. Okay, so since we know about this, that everything that happens is because of the cause and also the conditions that make this happen. Okay, that's why we have effect. So everything is changing all the time. The moment the condition change, the effect will change and may come or may not come and all that. So this is what we call impermanence. So everything in this world, everything that is actually the only thing that is not changing is change itself. Okay, so understanding impermanence, we treasure our life when things go well. Okay, but we treasure, we feel actually thankful. Okay, when everything goes well. So during the challenging time, we can always think about it. Actually, compared to many others, we are very fortunate. Be thankful about this one and see how we can help others more. Okay. And the other one is actually contemplating impermanence. We live with hope when life is difficult, because knowing the law of the nature, uh, we know that again, whatever happen is based on all the cause and the conditions and all that. So now, if really the vaccine that is actually rolled out in large number soon, or with the effort of scientists all over the world, and then we'll be able to have hope that this may go away in coming years, or maybe next year and all that. Okay, so whenever we actually having this difficult time and all that, by learning, by understanding impermanence, we always think that there's hope. There's always hope to do so. Okay, so that is something that is very important for us to have in mind during this challenging time. So don't give up. Don't give up. Okay. Now let us see how the the biosphere, all these living creatures and living cells on Earth, how they actually react to challenges, big challenges. Now, in the history of Earth, okay, as you can see in this graph, this slide and all that, there have been five major extinction before, five major mass extinction that happened before. Okay, you can see that one, two, three, four, five, where the number of actually families of species has dropped suddenly, dropped. Then after a while, you can see it come back again and it grow back again. Okay, that means that actually through evolutions and through adaptations to the environment, even though the environment has changed, okay, uh, all these living things and all that actually evolve and adapt and survive, continues to survive. And in fact, they actually evolve to even more varieties and more species as well. Okay. Now, if you look at the upper right corner of the graph, okay, upper right of the corner of the graph, the sixth one is something just people are actually predicting lah. As I say, whether the human being actually we actually caused the sixth mass extinction because of our destructions of the environment and all that. That we are causing more species to be extinct and all that lah. So from there we can see that the biosphere, the dynamic living biocycles of the earth and all that is in fact very adaptable, and they can actually always evolve to face the challenges and all that. Okay, so let's look at another slide here. Is what we call tree of life. If you look at tree of life here, okay, now how to actually interpret this slide, this drawing. Okay, first of all, you look at the center, the bottom. At the bottom, you have to look at the center. That is the time when Earth was found. Sorry, when Earth was actually how to say, the Earth actually was created in the solar system. Okay, now if you look at the center, bottom center, and then you start looking towards the left hand side, you can see some that refers to the first cell on Earth, and slowly it actually evolved and then come out with the whole groups of bacteria. So when you move from the center to the outer layer, it refers to the time passing until today. Okay, so then you can see that from bacteria, then it actually form the eukaryotes, and then the plants start coming in, and then all the others, reptiles, fish, amphibians, bird, mammal, then also these the mammals and all that's all coming in and all that. Now, if you look at this slide, you can see that at the center there are some drawing of these animals and all that. Like for example, right hand side you can see the dinosaur. Okay, then suddenly dinosaur extinct. Okay, and there's a vacant a blank area there, and slowly the places were replaced with others. okay, will replace others. So you can see that the biocycle, biocircle of the earth and all that, all these living things and all that, they can evolve and then are very dynamic and adaptable to the changes on earth and all that. Okay, so that tells us that whatever things that we are facing now, okay, with collective knowledge, collective efforts by human beings, we should be able to overcome. Okay. Now let's look at the history of pandemics. Okay, this is actually you can see the source of this information. You can see that since the 1300 until now, the number of pandemics actually has increased over the past 100 to 200 years. Okay, so as we actually explore more about the natures and all that, and as human being, the network with transportation and all that, so it's easier for this disease to actually transfer to other parts of the world and all that. So in future, even after COVID, we may actually have more and more pandemics coming in and all that. So in this case, this COVID experience may be actually a way we learn. We learn how things work and all that, so that we can actually prepare for our future better. Okay. Then, of course, the next slide actually show you also all the recent past number of centuries and all that, all the big global pandemics and all that. Okay, so even with those pandemics and all that, the human society actually survives. Okay, so I think this is hope we should have. Okay, this is the hope we should have, even during the COVID-19 era and all. Sorry, COVID-19 this pandemic time, we should always actually have hope and then try to do our best effort to actually help each other to overcome this. Okay. So by knowing of what's this the pandemic and all that, now let's actually look at the challenges we are facing. Okay. According to Professor Richard Davidson, who is actually a professor of psychology and psychiatry at the University of Wisconsin Madison. Okay. Uh, he together with Daniel Goleman, okay, Daniel Goleman is actually the author of the famous bestseller book, Emotional Intelligence. They a few years ago they actually published this book called Altered Traits. Okay, it is actually through a series of science and experiment and all that. They reviews how meditation changes mind, brain, and body. Okay, now according to Professor Richard Davidson, okay, these are the four challenges that modern society is facing. Distractibility. With the mobile phone, with the internet and all that, we are always eager to find out what is the latest. Whenever we have a little bit of free time, even 1 second, 2 seconds, okay, instead of actually trying to calm our mind, trying to actually be at the present, try to actually observe the surrounding or whatever, or appreciate the surrounding and all that, our natural course of natural way of action now is actually to bring out our handphone and then check what is happening now. So and whatever we do, we always think about other things to do as well. So this distractibility is one of the challenges, okay, including for students learning online and people doing work and all that. This distractibility is always there, okay. The other challenge is loneliness. Okay, although we are now very well connected, in fact, we are connected with many others. Every time, even our relatives are living in US, in Europe, in China, or in other countries and all that, or friends and all that, we are all connected within the click and all that. We are connected. Okay. However, somehow, no matter how many likes we have on our Facebook and all that, we feel loneliness. We feel loneliness because all these kind of a digital way of network may not actually represent the overall as a human being the kind of the experience of a long-term relations. Okay, So that is something that we are facing. And the other one that he is suggesting is actually negative self-talk and depression. Okay, normally it all started with negative self-talk. Whenever we have something facing difficulty or some disappointment or whatever, we always like to say that maybe it's me, or maybe it's because of my fault, and all that. So this negative self-talk is slowly growing, and then it's set up in our neural network. It become a routine. Then we keep thinking about this, and slowly, this may evolve into depression. It may evolve into depression. So it is very important to understand that. Just now, as you would know from this, the study of the probability and statistics. Just now, I explained to you all. I think whatever choices we make, even with our best effort, not all of them going to be good choices, because everything that happens is not only dependent on us. It's dependent on many, many things. Like we make the best effort that we want to actually travel to do this tour to this country that we have been thinking since our young time and all that, but suddenly COVID-19 comes. Okay, so by knowing the nature, by knowing about the Dhamma and this understanding how it works and all that, we can actually reduce this kind of negative self-talk and depression. In fact, by having knowing this one, by having a positive attitude, a growth mindset, whenever we have this negative self-talk, maybe what we should do is actually how to actually face it, accept it, and then handle it, meaning that go and reach out to friends, relatives, family members, talk to them, so that we can clear with this negative self-talk, or maybe work something on it to improve the situations and all that. And the last challenge, as mentioned by Professor Davidson, is loss of meaning and purpose in life. This is accumulation over many experiences and all that. Now, the late famous author Stephen Covey actually once mentioned his team, his consulting team actually gathered a lot of studies from all over the world. They found out that the meaning in life, actually in many of the community and society on earth, always actually come down to four things. Okay, if we every day can do these four things, we will feel meaning in life. Which are the four things? Okay, number one, to learn. Okay, to learn. That means that every day we learn something. Our neural network has something to learn and all that. We feel that it's meaningful. Okay, because you equip yourself, you increase, I know, feeling of safety, or you increase that your knowledge and all that to learn. So make sure every day during this time and all that we learn something new. Go and learn something you want to learn. Okay, who knows, you can be an expert later. Okay, and second thing is actually to live. Okay, enjoy living, since where we are actually so fortunate that we are still living. Enjoy living, have good cup of coffee, be mindfulness. When we are watching TV, be mindful, just enjoy. And when we are helping others, and if we can do something to help others, go and help others and all that. Live and all that. Okay, it's very important to actually find the meaning in life. The third one is usually to love, to love ourselves by actually having good sleep, doing exercises, okay, having good and healthy diet. Love our family members, show your care. This is the best time for us to do, okay. And then we radiate it out to see what we can help others, how we can help others better and all that, okay. Then that I'm really uh, grateful about. I'm truly grateful about and all that. Okay. So next, now, so if you look at this one, this slide actually is actually very interesting for us to know. We are always distracted by many things and thoughts. So maybe from time to time, please pay attention to bring back your attention. Please pay attention to bring back your attention. And we always contact people through the internet and social media. But please remember to call your inner self from time to time. Huh. Then I think this is actually some way that we can actually maybe calm our mind better. Okay. So there was actually a research in 2010 by two professors of Harvard University. Okay. According to this research publication in Science Journal, a wandering mind is an happy mind. They, from a survey of 2,250 people, they found that about 40% of them of time they were wandering while doing their activities. I mean, while we are doing and all that, in fact, 40% of time easily we wander and our mind flows somewhere else and those kind of things. Okay, and they find out that when they are wondering and all that, it's not happy. It's not happy. In fact, when we are actually focusing on our work, although the work may not be something everybody like, I don't know. Okay, but whatever things that we do, if we can be focused, okay, then is associated with even more peaceful or more happy mind. Because when we are focused, okay, when we are focused and all that, we come to the state of flow. Sometimes, for example, we know when we love doing certain things, time flies because you were so immersed in this kind of activities. You focus your mind and all that. Time flies, okay, and you have a very peaceful mind during that time. Okay, peaceful during that time. Okay, so because why? Wandering mind is actually when we start doing things and then we start our mind start wandering and all that. Okay, it's because we start thinking about the past or the future, and then a lot of times it goes into the loop and then cause emotional anxiety and unrest and all that. Okay, and then this when this is a pattern, it keeps coming. And all that. So the moment when we have this problem or whatever, the best way is actually just pay attention to our attention, meaning that bring back, be mindful, and then focus back on the work that we are doing. Okay, then slowly and you build out, you strengthen our neural network loop inside our brain. To do so, we'll be able to be more mindful and then have a more calm mind and also, of course, a more happier mind. Okay, so from here we can actually come to actually maybe to conclude or to actually suggest that in fact during challenging time and during all time as well, there are these two essential skills very important. First is adaptability to outside change, and whatever change and all that physical or whatever kind of changes and all, or even in the challenges in job, challenges in all kind of things and all that, we must adapt. We must be able to actually have the ability to learn new things, to overcome the challenges with growth mindset and all that. Okay. Then at the same time, we also have this inner mind tranquility. Okay. So that it help us to be able to focus, help us to be able to actually solve the problem in more actually logical way and in more practical way and all that. Okay. So adaptability to outside change actually needs focused mind to learn and handle. Okay, so that's why we have to actually practice. So through yoga, through meditation, and sometimes even through exercises. When you are exercising and all that, just focus on this one. You can actually focus and you can help to train your focused minds and all. And then with the focused mind and all that, when we handle outside change, it will be easier because you can actually see all the changes, all the factors, and not affected by your emotional influence. Okay. The other one is actually inner mind tranquility needs a peaceful mind to practice and keep. Okay. How to maintain this inner mind tranquility? You need this peaceful mind. But how do you actually get this peaceful mind? If we understand the law of nature, you know about cause, effect, and condition, you know about impermanence and all that, you'll be able to actually accept the situation better and then also not giving up, okay, but able to actually face it, go and handle it, and then let it go. And by having the ability to do so, we can have this peaceful mind and then this inner mind tranquility. Okay, so that's why you can see all these one are all related to what we can do every day. So every day, if we try to actually practice, have good thoughts, okay, say good words, and do good deeds and all that. All this naturally will change our neural network patterns, okay, and things will change as well, okay. Even there's somebody we don't like, okay, but start having metta thoughts, start actually talking, having good thoughts and other things and all that. Slowly you change our thinking about a person and all that, okay. So later I will have a slide to explain how our mind works, okay. So, of course, this Professor William James, who is the Harvard University professor and also the father of American psychology, he once also mentioned that the education of attention would be an education par excellence. In fact, he said that this is long time ago, no, last century or even the one before last century, okay, 19th to 20th century, okay. Uh, so you can see that from long time ago, people have been talking. In fact, education or attention is important. Because if somebody, if anybody, all of us can focus on what the things that we are doing, we can learn better, we can practice better, we can do our work better, we can treasure our relationship better, because when we are doing conversation, we focus our mind, we actually care for others more. Okay, so that is something that we want to realize as well. So during this time of online teaching and learning or online working and on, always remind ourselves, are we, when doing this kind of thing, we are also at the same time thinking of many other things? Can we help use this opportunity to help us to develop our attention, our focus, our mindfulness? That definitely will help for us, for our children, for students and all that. Okay, so Daniel Goleman actually, after the famous book Emotional Intelligence, he has also written a book called Focus. In fact, he said this is the hidden driver of excellence. He said that especially in the mobile phone world and all that, what is lacking, in fact, is the focus. So he said that by having inner focus, we will create this self-awareness. By knowing this self-awareness, we can control emotion better. We can know about our own thinking, and we'll be able to react much more efficiently and effectively with outside world. And by having other focus, we can develop this empathy, because by knowing about, by listening to others, we have this empathy, and we can actually help develop more better relationship. And the other one, outer focus, with the system awareness, that we are understanding, knowing about what happens in the surrounding, in the environment, in the whole world and all that, that will actually help us to create the awareness of other things as well. So he actually stressed a lot on developing this focus. Okay. Then later, he together with Professor Richardson, okay, they wrote this book, The Author Trait, is because since uh, they know the importance of emotional intelligence, they found that emotional intelligence, in fact, if you can develop your ability to focus, you'll be able to actually realize our emotion, to control or to manage emotion better. But how to actually develop our focus? Then later, the third, the book on the author traits, they found out, in fact, just by being mindful, by focusing on this, by doing meditation, yoga, exercise, and other things that help us to be mindful and to focus on our work. That helps to develop that one, and that helps to actually calm our mind as well. Okay. So by knowing all this one, so I want to share with you a little bit about what is actually challenging us, not only during COVID time, but also coming future. While we are having this COVID-19 pandemic, but the AI development is continuing. Okay, the robots is becoming more and more intelligent, okay, and many new technologies that are shaping our world is actually either being rolled out or is actually heavily developed in the labs and all that. So evolution of human, Professor uh, Max Tegmark of MIT, he actually wrote a book called Life 3.0. He said that, okay, Life 1.0 is true evolution, meaning that the knowledge of one for the parent is transferred to the children through the gene. So all surrounding all the biocircle surrounding us and all that, in fact, they are still life 1.0 because everything, even the virus itself and all that, they are transferring their knowledge through their gene. Okay, generation by generation, generation by generation. Okay, then for human being, because we develop the language, we know how to record down the knowledge, and we can actually educate our next generation. So we have moved on to the life 2.0. Through education, even we don't actually pass our knowledge just through the gene, how our body works, and that, but also the knowledge so that the young people, the children, they know how to take care of themselves better. Okay, now this time during the COVID-19, how we fight the pandemic, how we fight the virus is because we are life 2.0. Our scientists can work on the research and come up with the solution, okay, and then to overcome this, okay. Whereas in the earlier, maybe many centuries ago, when we have the pandemics or many other time, and all that, where education was not actually common and all that. So during that time, in order to survive through a pandemic, it may have to go through this life 1.0. Those who can really get immune and they survive, and then they continue. Okay. In fact, for human being now, our gene and all that. For example, some people they cannot do not have the protein. They cannot take milk. There are some people who cannot take milk. Okay. There are some people who actually are allergic to peanuts, nuts. There are people who are actually allergic to dairy products and all that. Okay. That is all through evolutions that certain part of our gene actually maybe through mutation and all is no longer working, and that's why we are unable to do certain thing and all that. Okay, but through education is life 2.0. So what about life 3.0? That can be possible two tracks for life 3.0. One track is actually because of the development of science and technology. We are able to change our organs, replace our organs, okay? And then maybe in future, we can even replace with a new brain as long as we can transfer whatever record in our memory and whatever our experience to the new brain and all that, okay? So in this case, it's life 3.0 because we actually are able to copy ourselves, clone ourselves, to have even longer life and all that. Okay, as mentioned by Professor Tegmark. Or the other way is actually the intelligent robot become more and more intelligent, and later they become even fitter than us. They can actually travel to other planets and all that. And they are the new species that will thrive because they can travel in the universe and all that, intelligent robot and all that, as life 3.0. So we don't know what will happen and all that. So this intelligent robot can also be in groups, no? It can be a swarm of robots and they can communicate to each other at the fast speed. They can learn things very fast because for us human beings, it takes many years for us to learn. But for them, they just transfer everything from one robot to the other robot. Then by the way, the knowledge is transferred and they can work together and they don't have to rest. They can work 24 hours and all that. So this is also another challenge. Of course, if you look at the lower left, there's one picture there. We may, who knows, in future we can come up with this nanobots that actually is injected to our bloodstream. And this nanobot will go and identify whatever virus we want to destroy, and they'll destroy this virus one by one. So in this case, for different virus, we just change the algorithm, and then you can actually kill different virus. Who knows? Maybe times will come that we are no longer actually be actually affected or infected by this kind of bacterial or virus because we have all these nanobots. Who knows? Okay. However, no matter how advanced we actually develop and all that, even we have the nanobot I mentioned just now, it may be actually put in the wrong hand. People may misuse it. Just like if you look at evolution, human society, from primitive agricultural, industrial, commercial, ICT, and even future robotic and intelligent and all that. The science and technology continue to improve and all that. However, all the feelings, the suffering, and all that, we continue to have because emotionally, this is unable to be solved by just introductions of new science and technology. Okay, because coming back to is it is still our mind that we need to actually cultivate. Okay, so that's why we look at all these sci-fi movie and films and all that. You can see Star Trek, Star Wars, Interstellar, and all that. Inside there, you can see they have all the advanced science and technology and all that. But circling around them is still all kinds of emotion, all kinds of complex relationship. Okay, so that's why I think supported by Dalai Lama, Professor Paul Ekman actually had gathered 248 global top psychologists with research in emotion. And they found out that there are five major types of human emotion: anger, fear, disgust, sadness, and enjoyment. And these five types of emotion also appear as character in a movie, Disney movie Inside Out. Uh, I think I've shown this slide before. Okay, so for those who have not watched this movie, maybe this is time that you go and watch this movie Inside Out because it tells about how our mind works. Okay, so because Prof. Paul Edmund, they believe that they also create this website, Atlas of Emotion. You can search for this Atlas of Emotion, and you can find out they can actually, all these five major type of human emotion, they subdivide into further smaller part of emotion and what cause it, how we overcome it, right? Because they say that a lot of time we don't know how to control our emotions because we don't know what trigger it. So that's why they create this Atlas of Emotion. Okay, so by knowing all these emotions, by knowing all this what we see in this world and all that, every day when we actually wake up and then we open our eye, we can see the world in front of us and all that. It's like a very dynamic, complex world. But if you actually go and look inside our brain inside there, in fact, it's black. It's dark. Inside there is dark and all that. Okay, so all those are whatever we see or whatever thing and all that, all this is actually stimulated through our neural network, through our neural network. Okay, so and how the neural network create all these kind of images, experience, and all that is something that sometimes we believe it is the true one. But because when we receive this information through our five senses and through our exposure to different media, it's already not complete, not and also maybe biased as well. Because like our eye, we cannot see certain visible spectrum. We cannot see the whole spectrum. Okay. Like for example, you use a proper spectrum, you may see that the tree is connected to the roots. The roots is connected to all other microorganisms and the whole ecosystem beneath the soil. Okay, but when we see tree, we think that oh, just cut the tree will do. But we do not see it's actually by cutting the tree, it affects the whole ecosystems down there as well. Okay, so that's why because of this one and all that, and different people through different kind of education and learning experiences, and also through exposure to different social media, especially now. If you like to watch read certain kind of articles because of AI, then the Facebook or the other channels, the news channel will keep sending you all the related news and all that. So slowly, a lot of us are all very much customized, and then sometimes maybe actually become even more extreme because we don't we are not exposed to many different thoughts and all that. Okay, so that's why it's very important to understand this. Okay, because what newborn babies see, uh, they start learning. They start actually building more neural network connection in their brain and all that. That's why educations, living by examples and all that, all this will help to actually shape what the new baby children and others, what they see about the world. This is because the construction of inner world, as I mentioned just now. For five senses and all that, even what we hear, we do not hear all the full spectrum and all that. Okay. So whenever we look at certain thing, what it happens and all that, we say, oh, this is right, this is wrong. But we may not know the full story of this one. Okay. And whatever decision we make may be based on our experience, our knowledge, or our education. Okay. So that's why it is always important for us to understand this one, so that by knowing about this one, we also try to understand the situation other people are facing. And with this kind of understanding and knowing that the world is interdependent, we will be able to actually cope with the situation better. So this is what we call neural interconnection. And every day can learn. Every day, every person can learn. Even when we are 90 years old and all that, it shows that the neural network interconnections is actually being established every day, new interconnection. So as long as we are willing to learn, as we can actually learn. What does that mean? That means that as long as we are determined to change how we view about the world, we can do so. That means that even for those with depression, anxiety, and all that, it is possible for them to get out from that one because it's their neural network interconnection. If they can continue to develop, and of course, sometimes maybe through medication first and then through other things and all that, develop growth mindset and start actually thinking about something positive and grow this positive thinking and all that. So when the neural network change, the loop change and all that, in future they can go back and to be a very positive thinking people. So there's always hope in whatever situation we have because of this neural interconnection is being formed every day. Okay, so the construction of inner world is actually through DNA. When we were born, there's some connections. Family, how the family bring us up, culture, religion, values, education, experience, news, entertainment, social media, and internet is all shaping what we think about the world. Okay, so if we keep on reading all the negative news about COVID-19, sometimes we may feel depressed. Okay, but at the same time, if we are exposed to all the beautiful deeds, how people help each other during this difficult time, how the scientists are developing vaccine and all, it also gives us hope and all that. So it is again important about what kind of material we receive. So by properly knowing what to assess is also important. So in future, because of development of technology, the virtual world, as you can see in many of the movie or games and all that, you can see people are talking about virtual world. But we may think that this virtual world is still far from now. In fact, it's not, no, because we have already created our second eye, our second our second life in the internet already. You see, we all have created our second copy of us in our internet because in our the internet we have all our experiences, all our thoughts, all our sharing, and all this one. And this by interacting with this second eye of us, okay, we are actually already creating this virtual world, and we are also influenced by that as well. Because why? We may post certain message and then next morning when we wake up and we see all kinds of response and that will change our feelings as well. Okay, so we are actually living in a virtual world already. Maybe it's not 3D as shown over here, but we are already developing this one. Okay, so of course virtual world in a movie, as you can see all this movie and all that. So coming back to this, first of all, just now I show you inside our brain is actually all black and all that is all we have created using our neural network, our thinking, we create our virtual world in that sense. Okay, the virtual world and all. But now on top of this one, we are using the internet, social media, created another cyber cell. Okay, and you look at this, either this cyber cell or either the one inside our brain, they are all stimulated through all these experiences, all the things that we have done in the past, and all the encounter we have done, and all that. Okay, so how to address this problem? Is still come back to the root. Still come back to the root because whatever outside we can't change them. They are independent and all that. Come back to the root. Come back to the root. If we can develop this right understanding uh, about the law of nature, about the Dhamma, about the contemplating on impermanence and all that, then we see things differently already. Then with a focused mind, with a peaceful mind, as I mentioned, the two essential skills, will be able to live in this challenging time better. Okay, so now coming to this slide of thoughts. Okay, this Nobel Prize winner, Professor Daniel Kahneman, has written this very good book. I suggest you now, since we all of us have a lot of time, if you have a lot of time, read this book, Thinking Fast and Slow. According to him, in our thinking, there are these two, system one and two. Okay, system one and two. System one is actually fast, automatic, frequent, and all that. System two is slow. You have to go through a logical thinking and all that. Okay. Now, maybe I give you a simple example that I like to give and all. Maybe you have heard about this example, okay? But it's easy for you to understand. For example, if now I bring to your Buddhist association, I bring a blue durian. I tell you that this blue durian is delicious, very, very delicious. You don't believe in me, so you won't take it. But I actually taste it in front of you. I say, yeah, so tasty and all. Then I also show you that in the social media, in the internet, there are already people talking about how delicious the blue durian is. Okay, so you think about it, you think about it, then finally you decided to try. After you have tried, you find, oh, it's really very delicious and all that. Okay, oh, then if a month later, I bring the blue durian to you again, but this time, without thinking much, you go ahead and then eat the blue durian, all right? So from this simple example, it actually involves this system one and system two thinking. Okay, when I first bring the blue durian to you, okay, your system one, your neural network interconnection, think that this is not delicious. In fact, maybe disgusting, a blue durian and all. Okay, you won't take it. But after that, when I actually show you by example, and I actually show you evidences and all that, then through your system two thinking, you establish the new connections, and then you think that, oh, and after you have tried it, then you believe that blue durian is delicious. Then you have developed this system to develop the interconnections, neural network interconnection. Then the next time, after a month go later, I bring this durian to blue durian to you. Since your neural network interconnection has been set up and all that, so right away you say, what? You use system one to say, yeah, I want to eat this one. Okay, so from here, system one and system two, you can see that this is how every day, how when we face with all kinds of choices, when we face all kinds of experience, how it's actually changing what we think about the world. A month ago, what we think, and now things may change. How we think, how we actually handle things may change. It's because of this system one and two is a dynamic process and all that. So what does that mean? That means there is also hope. If we want to change our habit, if you want to change our negative thoughts, if you want to do something to actually be more positive thinking, more growth mindset and all that, or you want to help others people to do so, there's always hope because by giving them the good environment, good actually exposure and experiences, teaching, training, and all that. And by actually following, like just now during the Puja time, the 5 precepts and all that. So by having good thoughts, do good deeds, and also say good words and all that, we are changing our neural network interconnection. Then slowly you find that the world is they will be thankful to the world, will actually send metta to others. So all this whatever we are doing actually help to make us a better person through this understanding of thought. Okay, so I am coming to the last few slides. From EQ to inner place. So just now I mentioned already. So Daniel Goleman and the Professor Richard Davidson, they have wrote these authored traits. Okay, study meditation using cognitive science and psychology. And then nowadays, in many parts of the world, MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, courses are popular among MNCs such as Google and Apple. They have regular training courses in their campus as well. And experiment has shown that after 8 weeks of 330 hours of MBSR training, the stress response of amygdala reduces by 50%. Now, amygdala is our emotional center. Okay, so if the response is reduced by 50%, that means we are less affected by our emotions. Okay, and then there are also increasing academic papers on meditation and mindfulness. That means that the mainstream science community is focusing, putting more resources into this one. Okay, they also find out that there are strong effect of metta meditation in loving kindness. So they found out that the moment we practice metta meditation by sending out these loving kindness messages and all that, that improves our amygdala activities very fast. Okay, and helps. You can see quite fast results. And the other one is actually from this another Nobel laureate, her work, Professor Blackburn, okay, who won the Nobel Prize because of this finding of this effect of telomerase. Okay, you see, all our DNA, at the end of DNA, there's a small cap called telomere. Okay, and the moment the length of this telomere reduced to certain length, then the cell will actually start dying and all that. So if you can continue to actually have a lot of telomeres, so that to increase, to continue to maintain the length of this telomere, then the cell will actually live longer. So basically, it's something to do with aging and all that. And from their research, they found out that after 3 months, 540 hours of meditation, okay, it can slow down the aging effect. And the other one is actually all the recent scientists research has shown that you can go to YouTube to find more about this default mode network. Everyone in our brain, when our mind is wandering, when we are not focused on doing certain thing, you go to this default mode network. And when it goes to default mode network, now we start wander our mind and we start thinking about past and future and those kind of things. So they find out that in fact, if you can focus on your current work, be mindful and all that, you reduce the mind wandering. And because of that one from the Harvard research just now, maybe you will live more happily. So all these are the latest thing. I just give you some point. You can find more information from a lot of tech talks or videos on YouTube about this. So again, another thing is actually this Professor Sonia Lubomirski's from University of California. They have gathered a lot of research in psychology papers, 200 over of them, involving 275,000 people. They find out that it is not success that brings happiness. The cause and effect, in fact, is more to that. Sorry, there's a spelling mistake. Happiness, HAPPI. So with more happiness, okay, when we feel more happy, more thankful about the world and all that, you're more likely to actually get become successful. So that is the cause and effect is this way from their research and all that. Okay, so so living in a challenging time, to conclude, number one, while living, working or doing, be mindful and live at present. Okay, that one from all the study we know is important. Number two, contemplate everything is changing and interdependent and also possible. I mean, that we understand the natural phenomena and all that. Number three, anything can happen when the conditions is right. Accept anything that had happened and can happen and handle this when it arises. Because something that happened, we can't change. Something that are going to happen, okay, that can happen. When it comes, we just have to accept because the condition will be right. But what we can do is actually the moment we have this condition, this situation, we go and handle it. Okay. Number 4, adapt to outside change and maintain inner mind tranquility. Number 5, be grateful and send metta. It is a wonderful world. It's always good that once we always practice this one, send metta, loving kindness, and be thankful. Okay. Then number 6, we can repeat 1 to 5 every day to improve ourselves. Okay. So thank you so much today for your sharing. And sorry, it's a bit longer than planned. Thank you very much. Bye.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Yu, for the sharing session just now. We certainly did learn a lot, and it was really informative. And yeah, right now we will open the floor to questions. So if you have questions for Professor Yu here, you can in chat, as well as if you are on a live, you could type it in Facebook as well. Thanks for the good references as well. So we will actually open the floor. So if you have any questions, you could ask here, and I will direct it to Professor Yu. Um, Seems like everyone's liking the session a lot. Very, very informative. So yeah, I don't see any questions right now. So maybe we could move on, or I guess we shall wait for a few. I guess we shall wait a couple of minutes more. Then yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, I think in recent years, I think for the past uh, 1 or 2 decades, you can see that the science about cognitive, the field of cognitive science has actually progressed a lot. So there's now a lot of research going to study about how neurons are actually connected. They have this connectome project that study how when we from our eye, from our ear, when we start receiving signal from outside, how it trigger different parts of the neuron, different areas in our brain, how it is processed and all that. So scientists is actually now knowing more and more about how we think. So hopefully in future, by knowing all this one will help us to actually realize how our thought is and then help us to actually come up with a solution for many of the mind related problems. Just like the default mode network just now, it's very interesting. Just type this one, default mode network, and you can see, you can read more about this one.
All right, Professor, I'm sorry to interject for a while here. We have a question right now from Chang. He says, Professor, thank you for your interesting and inspiring talk integrating science with Dharma. Could you please comment on living in the challenging time right now that is so short to fully comprehend the Four Noble Truths?
Yes, I think as I mentioned to you all just now, by knowing these four noble truths and all that, okay, we know that what will be the cause of all those sufferings, okay, and we know also there are ways for us to overcome this part, and so that we can actually improve ourselves. Okay, definitely this is true. In fact, you look at the presentations and all that. Okay, by knowing that that the world is interdependent, just look at some example. By knowing that the world is independent, not just human being, but also the natures and all that. So if you can protect the environment better, if we can actually change the way our behavior, maybe in future we can actually prevent or we can actually reduce the number of future pandemics that will come. Okay, so the same thing, like for example, to know how our brain works and all that, to know about default mode network and all that, and by learning how to be actually all these cause and effect by knowing this how it costs us to suffer emotionally and all that, And you also show the ways having actually mindfulness and all that, and help us to reduce the activity of the default mode network and let us be actually more calmful and also have a peaceful mind.
Okay, very good answer, Professor. And yeah, I don't think we do have the questions rolling in right now,
Mm.
but I guess we would continue on because we still have a bit of time. So if you do have any more questions for professors, please keep them rolling in right now. And yes, you have a good point about keeping the mind very present and focused also during the talk just now. And I guess because a lot of times we live in the future um, and we kind of worry about what's going to happen, and then that's we can't do anything with what is happening right now. And okay, we do have another one here from Zoom. So um, where is the location of our mind? There's someone that there's a question on FB or Zoom, but it appeared on Zoom. So yeah, where is the location of our mind, or the location of our each thinking, not the brain, right? So Professor, would you mind
Okay,
answering
I think
this?
for this one, it's actually whatever we do, for example, from all our five senses, the signals that collected will be actually channeled into our brain, different parts of brains for further processing, and also we will actually, some of them will trigger some emotional response, and some of them need to actually access to our brain for the old memory and all that to be retrieved so that they are connected for further thinking and understanding. Okay, so I suppose that in order to understand it better, in fact, the movie Inside Out is actually quite a good movie, and it actually illustrates how our mind and emotions and all that, how it works and all that. So I will advise you all, if you have time, to go and watch this, and you will know better.
All right. We have another question coming in from YouTube as well. So from Boy Koksun, Professor, Buddha's teaching is to not suffer. So human knows suffering through feeling of emotion. AI intelligence is true facts. Can AI lead us out of suffering? Oh,
Mm.
this is a good one.
Okay.
So, Professor, what's your thoughts on this?
Okay. Now, I think whatever we experience in our life and all that is because our attachment of myself, ourselves. Then we think, then we suffer. Then we suffer. Okay. Then we suffer. Okay. So in this case, by not actually by saying that we want to get out from suffering, doesn't mean that we stop experiencing everything. We are still experiencing all the things that like the normal life and all that. But the way we actually, by knowing the actually the natural law, by knowing Dhamma and all that, we know how to handle it properly, and then so that we can actually can reduce the impact, the suffering and all that. Okay. Now for AI, some people would say that, oh, what about AI, the intelligent robot and all that? If one day they develop the intelligence until they come to the extent like human beings, will they also have this suffering and all that? So as I mentioned just now, okay, if they are basically going through their algorithms and doing all these things, I think they may not actually have this because they have not developed this feeling and emotions. Okay, but the moment if they having this memory, okay, by having memory and by recognizing that the past history, and by actually also if they start having this self awareness, or have the robots having actually attached themselves for survival, okay, and through the memory, then they may actually start doing something to actually protect themselves or want to extend themselves. Okay, and through memory and all that, they may find out that certain reaction, certain interaction with other robots is better than from another groups of robots and all that. And if you record this as memory and all that, they may also build out future relations and how they deal with all these things. And who knows? Maybe in future there may be dispute or whatever. So this is still actually uncharted territory. We have no idea at all whether AI, intelligent robot, will ever reach that state or not. Okay, but we think that if they really like human beings develop feelings, emotions, and all that, then of course they may also have the time of when they feel down or what. Yeah, so it's still uncertain at this moment. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we do have a couple of more questions here. So the first one is from Lee in Facebook Live. So, good morning, Professor. What are the challenges and barriers of teaching secular mindfulness to university students? That is from FB. And another one is, that will be later. It's about a vaccine. So, if you mind answering Lee first about mindfulness, teaching mindfulness to university students.
Mm. Okay. Now, first of all, from this secular mindfulness teaching, I think in many of the multinational company, I think like Google, Apple, they start doing it and all that. In fact, if you look at mindfulness, actually, this is actually across different religions. They also think that it's very important. Okay, to be focused whenever, for example, doing religious practices from all religions. And in fact, even for during the work and all that, it's always that we have a focused mind so that we can have a better efficiency and those kind of things. Then the same thing, I think, for learning and all that for students, even from primary school until university or even those postdoc students and all, it's also important for them to actually train out the mind so that they can focus. So in this case, this secular mindfulness is just based on the latest research in the cognitive science, showing that in fact, if we can actually focus our mind on what we are doing, we can reduce the activities of the default mode level, and naturally it brings actually a better either mind states called flow or is actually more efficient or effective in whatever we do. Okay, so I suppose this one it is something suitable. In fact, I think our university just about a month ago, we just organized one international mindfulness conference. Okay, where attended by people from different parts of the world and all that, just focusing on how the secular mindfulness can be applied in daily life and all that. Okay. Now, referring to the another question is actually about vaccine. Okay, about the vaccines and all that. I'm not an expert in this vaccination area and all that lah. I suppose you should have to go and consult the doctor or specialist that will know better and all that. Sorry, I'm not able to comment on this one. Okay, I'm not able to comment on this one. Okay, but hopefully, I think or with all types of vaccine being developed and if it's safe, those are safe for us to take, and hopefully that will actually overcome the problem of the COVID-19 pandemic.
All right. Okay. So, thank you, Professor, for your insightful answers. Unfortunately, we do only have time for one last final question before we have to move on. Um, does anyone have any questions here from the live or anything? So we have time for one more. Okay, so yes, there's one right now, one final one from UBV. So, are there universes beside the one we are currently in? If yes, could there be human life form there? This is the final question.
Okay. Now, I think astronomers actually and scientists actually in the past 1 decade, I think they have actually searched all those exo planets, meaning other types of planets that are actually suitable to them, suitable to actually grow or develop living things. They found out that it is not uncommon. Okay, in fact, in our galaxy itself, okay, so far they have also over one or two, a few thousands lah, okay, of candidates of exoplanets that possible that life may actually develop there. Okay, but whether they will develop a human like us, we are, I think we are not too sure because maybe they are at different stage of status and all that. We don't know. Okay, so scientists now can only tell that there are candidates of planets that are suitable. Uh, Suitable doesn't mean that it definitely has. Okay, it's just that for the condition to grow, and this kind of living things and all that. Okay. Now, whether there's any other universe and those kind of things, there are actually now many different school of thoughts about this one, and one of them, of course, is usually the parallel universe. There are some that say that it is it's still actually under investigation. It's still under investigation. Okay. So we don't know yet. You don't know that it's still actually under the study by the astronomers and scientists. Okay. But of course, maybe in futures when scientists know more, we can tell us more about this one. But coming back to the Earth now, okay, come back to the daily life and all that. Okay, we have our own internal universe in our mind. Okay, our own internal universe in our mind and all that, where we, beside our own mind and all that, also in our internet and social media. Okay, that is also something that we should look into and see how we can actually cultivate a good mind, help each other. I think, and also help so that we can actually at least maintain the earth as the place for us to live uh, for the many generations to come.